Hey everybody, it's Gregorio, and I just realized that today marks exactly 9 years since I uploaded my first video to YouTube about me coming to Japan. So, about a year before I came to Japan, I started doing videos about my process in coming to Japan. And at that time, I was going to be coming to Temple University. And so now, 9 years later, here I am, still in Japan, and I can't believe it's been almost a decade. A decade. It's 9 years. So one more year, and it's a decade living in Japan. So I'm just kind of shocked that I'm still here. I originally was going to be here just for university. I was going to go back to America, but at the time, just things didn't seem good to go back to America at that time. And actually, even now, the way everything is at the moment with the politics and what's going on with the police and just in general, I'm kind of scared to go back to America. Living in Japan is quite safe. My job is stable. I get a monthly salary, and I'm a permanent employee, so I don't really have to worry about getting laid off. So, you know, living my life in Japan is kind of okay. Um, but I still do YouTube. There's times where I go through a like a time where I'm just gonna upload many videos. I'm really inspired, and then I go for maybe 4 or 5 months where I don't upload anything because I'm not inspired. I don't have anything in that's interesting. I've been in Japan close to a decade, and a lot of what happens in daily life is just daily life. It's not like when you first come here and everything's new and you're like, oh my god, what is this? What is that? And now, with YouTube being around so long, so many people have come here and so many people have posted the same type of videos, their first reactions to coming here, living here, experiencing cultural differences and language barriers. And now I still have the language barrier. I still have just like a daily conversational capability of Japanese. um, One thing is, I didn't study so much. I was terrible at studying. Two, I was an English teacher for many years, and every day was just in English. And the times that I used Japanese was when I would go to like the convenience store and they'd ask me if I wanted this item heated or if I wanted chopsticks, and usually the response is "hi," and that's it. No conversation required. Um, and I also had a lot of like foreign friends, and the Japanese friends that I had, a lot of them spoke English, so my life was still in a kind of this English bubble. But when I started working at this company that I'm at currently, which is a game company, when I first started working there, the team and the office I was in, there was nobody in there who could speak English. Well, there was an Australian guy, but he left after a month and a half. He was with the company many years, but he happened to be leaving the company when I got there. And even on a daily basis, I didn't really have a need, or there was no specific reason for me to talk to him. And then after that, I was just speaking in Japanese. It was more of crash course Japanese, especially talking to engineers. Um, and one of the engineers is from Iwate area, and his dialect is also very hard for regular Japanese people to understand, so it was even harder for me. But when we moved to like the new office, there was other people who could speak English, so was able to speak English a little more, and in turn, I didn't use my Japanese as much in work. And currently, what I'm doing, I almost don't have to talk to anybody at all at work all day. So using Japanese is not necessarily required at the moment. But the relationship I am in, um, this person's English ability is just so-so, so kind of speaking mixed with Japanese and in English. This is kind of like 50-50 mix back and forth. So I do learn some new vocabulary, but there are like the cultural differences that make it sometimes difficult. Other than that, it's just I do suggest, if you are interested in coming to Japan, um, if you want to live here, uh, come by all means. It's a fun country. It's an interesting country. There are, of course, its negatives, like any other country in the world. Japan is not the best country. It's just Japan generally agrees with me in how I want to live my life. And, you know, those people who want to live in Japan long term, I think you have to have a mindset that you have to disconnect where you feel your hometown is. There are a lot of people who come to Japan and they're like, yes, I want to live here for forever. But then they always kind of like refer to home, 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 home. And they don't ever have this true disconnect where it's like, oh, where I grew up and where this was, and I miss this, and it's like they they still have this like umbilical cord that they cannot detach themselves, and many end up finding too many faults in Japan and end up leaving. Um, as a kid, I moved around so much that had the mentality that home is where I'm at. So I was able to consider where I'm at home. Even in Japan, even in a country that's not it's not my cultural background. It's not the language that is my dominant language, but I feel that where I am is my home, and I'm able to have that disconnect from my family and friends. I still have connections with family and friends, but to have that disconnect, to be able to just um, be cool, just not having those people around. There's so many people where it's like, I can't be without my mother, I can't be without my grandma, this and that. And, many of those people put in 1, 2, 3 years in Japan and say sayonara. And I've had so many other friends who say, okay, I'm going to go back to America or my country for like a year or two, and I'm going to come back to Japan. I found people who haven't come back to Japan in about a year never come back. So those of you, again, who are interested in coming to Japan, to live in Japan, you're going to meet some awesome people, and you're going to have to say goodbye to so many awesome people. So again, you have to be able to kind of, I don't want to say be cold, but just kind of understand and be able to accept people will come and go in and out of your life as a rotating door. Even I have Japanese friends. They go away from one reason or another. They move to another part of Japan. They get a job in another part of Japan. They get married. They go to another country. Some people recently, one person moved to Vietnam. Another one moved to Hong Kong for a master's program. So, even the Japanese friends you may get, you may have to say goodbye, at least for a while. And even, of course, there's people that you're friends with that maybe you don't see often, but when you do see them, you kind of pick up where you left off. Anyways, I've been talking for a long time now, and I just wanted to say, for those of you who I know who have been around for a long time, I know especially Casey, you, I know, have been around from the beginning, and you still comment on my videos. And for those of you who just subscribed to me recently, thank you for watching. Please continue watching. I will try to continue to put up new videos. Of course, I have my food videos that I like to do, which is sampling limited edition food items. I do sometimes go to pop culture events and try to record those to put up on here. And also recently I started doing sewing. Here's a couple bow ties I made, and I've shown some other tote bags and my fabric hauls. So I will have a few types of videos I will post on here. Maybe more sewing videos will come up more often because that's what I'm more passionate about at the moment. And like I said, I've been doing Japan related videos for so long that, you know, nothing's very new for me. So if you're disappointed on the sewing videos, please disregard those and wait for a Japan related video to be uploaded. Anyways, it's Gregorio from Tokyo. 9 years of vlogging on YouTube and about 8 years living in Japan. Thank you, and I'll see you all later.